Hey, this is David, and we're finally back with our last thoughts on She-Ra Season 5. If you want to hear us talk in depth about Catra's redemption arc, and gushing about Adora, go check out Part 1 first. Otherwise, let's continue commiserating and celebrating the end of She-Ra.
Speaking of that moment of, that transformation.
Oh my god.
Stunning.
Stunning. Absolutely. Like, not just, of course, the new outfit or whatever, but just like the posing.
Yeah, it's like this effortless confidence and humility all wrapped in one.
Right? It's like the Messiah, right? Like, oh my god, it was like I can't describe it in any other way. Like, except for oh god, that god awful blush emoji that you used when you were talking about Hordak and how you like him, and that freaking image that just ruined me.
That's how you feel about the transformation?
That's how I feel about She-Ra, but actually this feeling is valid and good.
You know what? Hordak did just fine this season. You know?
He didn't even get his hair back. He didn't even get, like, his red colors back.
Give him time.
God, what was it? No, freaking right before Season 4 aired, someone tweeted at Noelle, it's like, can we get Season 4 spoilers, wrong answers only? And she gave Season 5 spoilers. Like, all of them happened in Season 5, and they were all so ridiculous. Like the one where it's like, Hordak discovers that green is his new color. Or Rogelio and Kyle steal a baby. Or Adora duct tapes herself to a wall. Like, literally all of that happened. But, there was another one, too, that was really funny. Oh, we meet Seahawk's exes. That one.
Yep,
and I like how it turned it from, like, oh, you know, haha, that'd be really funny if it was his ex, to being like, oh, that was his ex.
I like that. I hope we can rekindle. Ooh, that's a bad word. Reignite.
Reignite also because he did set the ship on fire. But the episode titles I didn't look at until later, and also the theme song I didn't look at until later.
Oh, you were skipping the theme the whole time. That was huge for this season.
I watched the first one, and then I kept skipping it, and people were like, oh, you know, look at these cute lists. Like, oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, all the princesses disappear over time, but also I really love even just the way that it starts, where normally you get the triumphant She-Ra raising the sword, but it just, you know, does the flash, and then it's just, you know, Adora standing there, arms down. Like, that just really set the scene for just starting the season. Like, oh yeah, this is gonna hit different. And then
it hit different.
You know, Catra has her first moment of redemption, and they're like fighting, but then she just backs off and smiles like, oh my gosh, chills.
Because I just gave up on Catra, you know? It's like...
You did, yeah. And I'm so smug and in your face being like, you gave up on Catra?
I mean, I knew she would. I knew they would redeem her, but I didn't care at that point. It's like, okay, you do what you want with Catra. I am not invested in this character anymore. I've written her off.
Oh.
Wow.
But she came back so strong.
So, I mean, I care about how much she means to Adora, but otherwise it's like, oh yeah, she is kind of cute with her little cat ears on her little helmet, but it's like...
But she did try to destroy the planet. You can't let go.
And the tail that stuck out of the spacesuit, because obviously if you have fur, your skin doesn't care about being in a vacuum. I can kind of see, you know, Glimmer teleporting into space. Like, she still had the teleportation, like, film around her. I can understand that. I can excuse that.
Oh yeah, that visual cue made sense, yeah.
And I could, like, you know, She-Ra being out in space, like, she's surrounded by a magical glow, and is, like, magically sticking to these surfaces as if there was gravity. I can accept that. The hair and the tail sticking out of the spacesuit, you can't form a seal around hair. What did they coat her ponytail holder in Vaseline? Like, it don't work like that. Oh my god.
I think the suits definitely prioritized aesthetics over tail.
Yeah, considering Entrapta got her boob window and Bo got his ab window.
Yes, the ab window is what really got me, because they stayed committed.
Yeah, and it's funny how, like, Entrapta made the suits, so she called dibs on the boob window, and there can only be one boob window, so Catra was stuck without one. What is She-Ra? Because she could use her powers just fine off of Etheria. So something tells me that she is not just an Etherian princess. Like, she has some sort of power source outside of that.
Yeah, well, we learned that magic is apparently was a thing that was all across the universe, but also we pretty much have affirmed here that She-Ra is not of Etherian origin, and at least to me it seemed to be strongly suggested that it was actually a First One thing, or that the celestial shera started off within that species.
Also, explain to me how Adora can read First One's writing. Like, is that a shera thing? Because just being a First One at birth is not how reading works.
Yeah,
Right,
I was
like-
always iffy on that. But this in the very first episode, they show you just how vain Horde Prime is when they capture that clone, and he's like, oh, glory to Horde Prime, revered of the, what was it, Seven Suns, and
The Seven
it's just-
Skies.
Seven Skies. It's just making me envision an AU where Bo spends like the next 10 episodes interrogating that clone, putting together a picture of the universe Horde Prime has destroyed, only to realize with horror that he has become a historian just like his fathers.
Oh my god, GC. That was the biggest build-up for the worst joke on this podcast.
I do my best.
The episode where Bo discovers their note and then finds them within that temple. That was hilarious.
The daddest of dad jokes.
Yeah. Just so he, like...
Right, where Glimmer's like, wow, that's awful.
Also, they almost kill Bo.
And I loved how he had socks with sandals. Like, were sandals, like, this is the first time I've ever seen socks and those kinds of sandals. Like, were they invented just for this character? That's just some,
Imagine-
like, lame dad joke.
Imagine almost killing your son or his friend in socks and sandals. That
Yeah,
would-
good thing they weren't better shots with that thing. I gotta say, though, I can really appreciate Frosta's life goals. What are you gonna do, Frosta?
Punch Horde Prime.
So excited. She never gets to punch him, by the way. Disappointed.
So, speaking of Frosta, Micah struggling to be a father.
Oh
you
my
know,
god, that
practicing.
that running joke of Micah's weird insecurity about getting Frosta specifically to like him.
Well, the fact that he views her as, like, he still doesn't really understand, like, Glimmer's age, apparently. Like, he still thinks about his daughter as being a little girl.
Like, deep down inside, Frosta is how old he expects Glimmer to be. Like, he's aware that she's older, but, like, that's still the mental image he has in his head.
Okay, there's one character we have to talk about. I don't know if we have any
Hordak?
deep insights, but yes. See, that's why. Wrong Hordak.
We broke him. That was so good. And then and he's like, "Can you open this door?" And he does it. And Entrapta makes the freaking funniest noise on the planet, where it's just like, like literally just that. It was so funny. And Bo's me like, "We're not keeping him." Like, oh my god. He's just like a gold mine of comedic potential, and they used every last drop of it in this season.
Gee, Entrapta, how come Horde Prime lets you have 2 Hordaks?
Yeah, you're 2 Horde husbands. That was so funny. I loved his character. Like, I would have found him usually kind of annoying, but he was just so freaking funny. And, like, I couldn't be annoyed by him, because he was
He eventually figured the wink out.
right, and his whole redemption thing was, like, not given this big pedestal. Like, it was mostly happening off-screen and sort of, like, dramatized.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, no, he's just so delightful, but also he shares a pretty real moment with Entrapta where, you know, I like that we've gotten sort of, I don't know the right word for it, but Entrapta has sort of represented the, like, autistic spectrum a little bit,
Oh,
I
yes.
think. Or,
Well, no, not a little bit. It was confirmed.
so the fact that she's like, yeah, I struggle with, you know, expressing my emotions too, but, like, she actually explains to Wrong Hordak exactly what
The wink means. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And also, it's character growth for her. We see that she understands.
And then he still gets it wrong.
Oh, no, and beautifully wrong. Like,
Right? And
the
Adora's
sound
like, did you
effect and
just wink
everything.
at me? That was so good. Oh my god, I love that. But yeah, like, as someone on the spectrum myself, like, I totally, like, agree with her character and how much it tracks. Like, the hyper obsession and the hard time reading social cues. We're here being like, you guys are mad at me after, like, they have been dropping like, it's been clear as freaking day to everyone
Yeah.
else. right? Like
That episode
that's,
was huge for that.
you know, like I like this representation of disabled people as, you know, dimensional people who are capable of flaws, but also, you know, have good hearts and good intentions, and don't let those symptoms like get in the way of being good people. Like they happen, and they're not necessarily excuses for behavior that hurts others, but like, you know, they're not villainized either.
Oh, I never said this quote from Mara when we were talking about our huge chunk about love, but I think the really important lesson to get from this, when Mara says, you are worth more than what you can give to other people, that's like a really unique statement that I just haven't seen again in kids shows, that your worth is not just built on what seemingly even seems like what other kids shows tell you should do, like your ability to sacrifice and give and give love to others is what gives you worth. And like those are totally good things, but it's also like there's this intrinsic worth that's even greater than that.
It can be taken too far, essentially, trying to give to others. And it's really interesting how both Steven Universe and She-Ra sort of had this same note playing in their finales. Like with Steven Universe, it was very much like the fundamental ending of Future was Steven kind of learning that he's worth more than he can give to others. But yeah, I find it really interesting because there's obviously no way that one could have influenced the other. They came out the same year, and these take like months and years to develop. But
go modern cartoon writers. You're doing literally the work of building our culture.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
It's just crazy that the show's already over. I'm sure at some point there'll be other times where we want to return to it and talk about other aspects, but it's been a blast covering it.
I'm glad you guys were able to bring me into the series.
Yes, I'm so glad that we got you pulled in a little last second.
I know I'm not as hardcore a fan as you guys, but, you know, I did manage to finish the series before we started recording, so, you know, I did good.
Yeah, which is fine. I busted this out in an afternoon because I was not going to have spoilers.
And meanwhile, you're sitting here talking about how, I wasn't sure that they would do it. Meanwhile, I don't think I was any episodes in at all before I knew that Catra and Adora ended up the season together, so.
Listen, I've been baited too many times. It was not a logical fear, it was a self-preservation. Thank you guys all for listening. If you like our content, please give us a subscribe, a like, a comment. We read all of your comments. There's only like 3 of them. It's not that hard. We appreciate all of you. We see all of you. Good night.
Later, everybody.
I think like at one point Glimmer just started like bringing Bo around. Like, where does he live? Maybe he has just like a cot in the middle of the woods and is essentially homeless. Someone get this poor boy a home.